one, tarnation!
I meant to do that.
Howdy folks, this is Applegeek, and here we are with My Little Pony Season 9, Episode 12. My persistence is paying off in spoiler avoidance because, once again, I know absolutely nothing about this episode. So, as such, I don't really have anything to say at this point, other than the way this season has been so far. The bar has been set really high, and I have very high expectations going into this, especially after the last episode. So I just hope that this is a good one, and based on the hype from my friends, I'm pretty sure it will be. So, enough rambling, let's just give this a watch and see what we got here. Episode 12, starting now.
Cutie Mark Crusaders!
Oh, CMC episode.
Cutie Mark Crusaders!
Who is this?
Crusaders!
We're at my house!
Oh, Scoodle's house!
Cutie Mark!
You did?
And
That's great, Skedaddle! Yeah, what's it for?
Not tying. And I never would have gotten it without all of you.
Did we suggest not tying?
First I tried sailing,
What?
like you said. Next I tried fishing, like you said. Then I tried rowing, like you said. But my oar broke. So I used my fishing line to tie it back together, and I got my cutie mark! I can't wait to tell everybody!
Wow.
Oh, how exciting! You three truly have a gift.
So they are canon. Okay.
Aw, thanks, Aunt Holiday, but I'm not sure
Holiday.
I can get credit for this one.
Of course you can. You encouraged that colt to try new things. And because you all believed in him, he succeeded.
That accent is cool.
I could use that kind of help.
Okay.
Come on, Auntie Lottie. You already
Auntie
have
Lottie.
your cutie mark.
A lot of good it does me. I can't decide what theme to give this quilt. I've run out of inspiration.
How about apples, puppies, tides, or cotton candy, or ballet? What about a Wonderbolt quilt?
See,
Patchwork quilt.
leave it to you three to come up with more ideas than I've had in a year. Now that's talent.
Aw. So, where's...
Goodness, we'd better get going or we'll miss our train home. I left you plenty of healthy food for the weekend.
And I left you cookies.
Okay. So
The
they're
cakes will stay with you
visiting.
tonight, then ready, and Rainbow Dash after that. Remember, we're just a few stops from Ponyville if you need us.
She knows, Holiday. See you next week, Slugger.
Bye, Aunt Holiday. Bye, Auntie Lottie.
Okay.
Aunts are so nice. Yeah, it's really cool they want you while your parents are gone. I know. I just wish they lived closer.
What?
Pony bakes like Auntie Lofty.
What? Oh, hey, Derpy.
They're coming home today! Who? My parents! I used to wonder what friendship could be. Until you answered its magic with me. Sharing kindness, it's an easy feat, and magic makes it all complete. Do you know you are my very best friends?
This could be a good episode. Yep.
Today, we're going to learn about the Pegasus Weather Factory. Once every pony is in their seats, the factory specializes in snow, rain, sunshine,
The
and...
Last Crusade.
Scootaloo, may I help you?
Oh,
Just
no,
noticed your
no.
erasers needed dusting.
I think I know what that title means, and I don't know if I'm going to like this now.
Why don't
Well,
we
we'll
hold
see.
off on the lesson until after lunch? How about show and tell? Does any pony have any...
My parents are coming home to Ponyville today!
Wait, they don't live here?
Nope. Their jobs are way too important for that. They travel to the farthest, most dangerous places in Equestria to study unknown plants and fierce creatures. And what they learn helps ponies science and
Okay.
medicine. I'd go with them, but it's too dangerous.
Well, this is epic.
My mom had to wing wrestle a wyvern. Dad
A
got
wyvern?
trapped in a chimera's cave for 3 moons. He still has the scars to prove it.
Wow.
You're making that up. No pony has that kind of job.
Oh. What the? Wow! Whoa!
Easy there, Marshmallow! Time you were in your crate for your nap.
I've got no words for this.
Now, mister. Mom! Dad! Still think she's making it all up?
Nuh-uh.
Every pony, meet my parents! Snap, Shutter, and Maine Allgood.
Snapshot and main.
Sorry to make such an entrance. Just brought back a few mates from our last adventure.
I think those are references.
Wait another moment to see Scootaloo. I hope we didn't interrupt anything.
Just a little bit.
I think class is dismissed.
See the cockatrice up there.
Nearly as tall as me now, Scoot.
Aw, come on, Dad.
Oh, Scootaloo, we missed you.
Me too, Mom.
By the way, Earth
Get all my
Pony and
letters
Pegasus.
And read them 20
Interesting.
times, but they're never as good as the real thing. It's so good to see you.
I say,
I should just
we
keep this
celebrate
out.
with
This,
ice cream sundaes.
this is
Have
awesome.
those in the jungle, that's for sure.
Why don't you all come? Our treat.
Oh, it's that
Princess
escape room
Twilight
guy
and
again.
Such good friendship tutors. She might even let us teach a class.
Good on you, Scoot.
What an honor.
I can give you a tour of the school if you want. I mean, if you're staying for a while this time.
Sweetie Belle.
You'll be seeing plenty of us.
Oh no. Yeah, I can. They're taking her with them.
A new job assignment that will let all of us live together.
I can't believe it! That's awesome! All right, Scootaloo! Woohoo!
We never planned to be away for so long in the first place. We just kept
Awesome, but
discovering
not awesome.
things that could help Equestria. And no pony else had the experience to finish our job.
But with all that's happened lately, Sombra's return, the destruction of the Tree of Harmony, we decided our family should be together.
Well, they're keeping tabs on the latest events.
This is the best day of my life!
We'll stay in town for the weekend, so you can pack your things.
Wait, what?
We're all moving to Shire Lanka. That's where our new job is.
Shirlink.
My friends are in Ponyville!
Sri Lanka.
You can come back and visit them. Or they can take the train to us. There's one every month.
But Scootaloo can't leave! We've been together our whole lives!
Yeah, this is awful sudden.
It'll be a big change for every pony, but it'll be a good change. Give it time. You'll see.
The only thing I see is the end of the Cutie Mark Crusaders!
Well, this is definitely not how I envisioned this going.
I now call our
Diamond
last
tiara.
ever Cutie Mark Crusader meeting to order.
Nice pictures.
First item of
What's
business.
that one to the? Yeah.
You can't let the blank things down just 'cause I'm gone. You gotta keep being CMCs without me. How? There's only 2 of us. Maybe you can find a replacement for me. No, we can't. You're the only you. Nothing's gonna be the same. Who's gonna ride their scooter ahead of us everywhere we go? Or put on plays with us? Or go camping with us? Or just hang out with us? Well, it's worse for me. I have to say goodbye to both. Guess who just got free front row tickets to the Wonderbolt show next week?
Horrible timing.
He's not the reaction I was expecting.
No.
Thanks for the tickets, Rainbow Dash, but I can't go. Her parents are making her move super far away from Ponyville. What? No way! Scootaloo belongs here. And now we'll probably
Oh, boy.
never see her again. It's hopeless.
Okay, that's a little over dramatic. There's a train every month. They already said it. Just.
I cannot believe you're giving up so easily. You're the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Solving tough problems is what you do.
We are pretty good at coming up with ideas. That's right. When we work together, we're unstoppable. I can't believe we didn't think of it before. It's list time, y'all. First question. Why do Scootaloo's parents want to move to Sri Lanka? That's where their new job is. What if we get them a job here instead? Yeah, they like dangerous creatures, right?
That's
We gotta
Everfree
have some of those
Forest.
around here, like timber wolves. Dad knows all about those, and cockatrices and bugbears. They only study super rare animals. Then maybe we need to give them an animal no pony's ever heard of. Then how would we hear about it? Because we're making it up. Come on.
Oh, this is the best plan ever, obviously.
Oh, you want these tickets, or?
Nope. Bigger priorities, Rainbow
To
Dash.
show you the tracks of the mysterious Everfree Banshee beast.
You're like nothing I've ever seen.
Legend says it has 5 claws and 3 wings, and it's super dangerous if you get close. If only some pony could prove it exists.
So are you going after Bigfoot now?
Easy enough. We'll follow the spoor.
Yeah, they're experts in this. You're not gonna
I think I heard something this way.
keep this up for too long. Oh, good grief! What? What is that?
So the plan is, we let him get a picture, then we hide again.
That is horrifying.
Now the plan is right.
The jig is up. Uh-oh. Yep, that went about as well as expected.
Guess you solved the mystery.
We'd
Yay.
better get back. There's a lot to get ready before the house goes up for sale tomorrow.
Man, they're moving fast on this.
Don't worry, Scootaloo. We have a new plan to keep you in Ponyville. We just gotta show your parents we're a set of 3. Then they'll have to let you stay here with us.
Okay. Dark room. Interesting.
Good. Are these yours?
Aww.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. We're sending them to the Pony Book of Records. We're the only 3 ponies in Equestria with the same cutie mark. The chances of that are so rare. It means we belong together forever.
Aww.
Yeah, but you don't have the same cutie mark.
I think I say technically.
Sure we do.
Where's Mudbriar when you need him?
Well, this part is the same, but the picture inside each of these is different.
Mm-hmm.
I think it means you'll stay best friends no matter where you go, and that's really special.
But we...
That they just nutshelled the cutie marks for us. Okay. Big fish. Oh, all those past memories.
All right, y'all. Time to take things up a notch.
Oh no. What is that?
With prune juice? It's a potion I mixed up from Zikora's book. Prune is only one of the ingredients. What's it do?
Do
On this
tell.
potion, please depend. Any separation, mend. Friends together till the end. We just gotta dab a little on our hooves. Sounds perfect, right?
Okay.
Better than perfect.
Is it gonna be glue? They're gonna be glued together.
Is
Or
something supposed
okay.
to happen?
I thought they're gonna touch hooves and be stuck. Oh, well, they're gonna be magically glued together. Okay.
This is something that's
Or
supposed to happen?
tied together.
The book didn't really say. Thanks for trying, Apple Bloom, but I might as well face it. I'm gonna have to leave Ponyville. Don't give up, Scootaloo. This just gave me an even better idea how to keep you here.
Oh no.
Come on. Whoa!
Ugh.
Maybe we'd better see Zikora about fixing this first.
You think? Or you could go practicing for the 12-legged race or something. I did. Or how many? I don't know. Really?
This has to
Scootaloo,
Not gonna work.
I know you're having fun with your friends, but we need to get all our things to the station.
We can't miss tomorrow's train. It's the only one for a month.
Then you'll just have to go without me. I'm staying with the CMC.
Wow.
We are chained to this post, and nothing and no pony is gonna move us. No
And
matter what.
Mm-hmm.
We just sold the house, Scoot. I know this
Obviously.
is hard to accept, but just...
It's more than hard. It's not fair. You're making me pick between my family and my friends.
Yeah, how about you give her a little time to adjust to this?
Away won't stop you three from caring about each other. Why don't you sleep over with Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom tonight? It'll give you a chance to say a real goodbye.
But I don't want to say goodbye. You're changing my whole life without even asking how I feel.
This is true. I have so many mixed feelings on this.
Where are you going? To stay with my aunts. You heard my parents. There isn't another train to Shire Lanko for a month. If I'm not on it, they'll have to go without me. Then we're coming with ya. Are you sure?
That-
I don't want to get you in trouble.
What?
Rarity won't be mad.
That-
Applejack neither. I bet you do the same thing for her friends. You're the best. You know
I don't think that's how this is gonna go, but we'll see.
Together.
Oh, going to their house. Okay.
What a nice surprise.
And I've got a surprise for you.
Eh?
You three inspired
I
me
called the
to finish
patchwork
my
quilt.
See? It's Cutie Mark Crusader themed.
Oh.
Hearing stories about all the ponies you've helped.
Oh.
He decided to celebrate the special job you three do.
Oh.
It's still a work in progress.
It's not your quilt we're sad about, Auntie Lofty. Mom and Dad are back, and they're making me move to Shire Lanka with them.
Snap and mine are back? They didn't tell me that.
Oh, I think the mail pony delivered your letter to my house. I love my family, but I love being with my friends
Derby.
too. I don't want to have to choose.
Well, then why don't your parents just stay in Ponyville?
Their job is too important. That's it!
More important than
Is
their
this another
daughter's
potion
life?
idea? No! Scootaloo's parents are the only ponies in Equestria that can do what they do, right? Right? Well,
Right.
so are we! Our cutie marks prove it! Yeah! Our job is to help other ponies find their purpose! And no pony else can do that! So if my parents split us up, it'd be just as bad as them quitting their jobs! Woohoo!
Interesting perspective.
Now, how do we explain that to them?
Yes.
You don't have to explain it. They will. Feeling better,
Oh.
Scootaloo?
A little. I just want to show you something before we go.
All right, but let's make it swift. That train won't wait.
So how is this going to end up? Is she going to move in with Rainbow
Sweet
Dash or
Celestia
something?
Slippers.
What is all this?
Oh! Twisted!
Betsy! Betsy! But we couldn't start without
Sugar
all
Boat.
of them here. CMCs! 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 CMCs!
The maid, everything?
These three ponies share a rare ability to help others find their true purpose. It's a job only they can do, and only together.
That sounds familiar.
In honor of all they have done and continue to do for the ponies of this town, I would like to present the Cutie Mark Crusaders with a three-handled key to the city.
A full Wonderbolt salute.
Oh, I'm not sure you know just how important Scootaloo and her friends are, little brother.
But you're about to find out.
The CMCs use their free time to set up a camp to help us blank flanks find our cutie marks. The Cutie Mark Crusaders see the best in every pony, even when that pony can't see it in themselves.
Well, I'll be a three-tailed bandicoot. I had no idea how important Scoot's club was.
Oh, it's way more than just a club. The CMCs have made a difference for every pony here.
And not just ponies. They help every creature.
Whether it's encouraging others to discover their special talent,
Dinner taps.
Or inspiring them to do what's in their heart.
Yes.
these three fillies offer the town something no other pony can.
No way! After all that, you're still gonna make her leave?
We just want what's best for Scootaloo. And until now, we thought we knew what that was.
Turns out, you're just like us, Scoot. You have an important job that only you can do. You love it, and it helps all of Equestria.
Sometimes that means missing out on other things you love, like watching our daughter grow into a pony we're very proud of.
Which is a long way to say, Scoot, if you want to stay, we understand.
Really? Thanks, Dad! Thanks, Mom!
Oh, sweetie, I'm just sorry we didn't realize it sooner.
Our work is our life's purpose. We could never quit.
His feather
There's no
bangs
way
back.
we can ask you to do the same.
Oh, and
Maybe you should have thought of
troubleshoots.
that before you sold the house.
Lofty, don't tease my brother. We already have a solution worked out.
Oh.
Since the CMCs make Ponyville such a nice place, we've decided to move here.
You can live with us, Scootaloo, if you'd like.
That would be amazing!
Well, that settles that.
Will you still come and visit?
Of course!
Rabid bugbears couldn't keep us away.
Oh, that
You
hat.
get to stay here! You get to stay here! You get to stay here! You are staying here, right? Are you kidding? CMC's forever!
I'd say nothing. Be right back. Okay. So that just happened. This episode went all kinds of places I was not expecting. And just, wow. This episode to me felt like we've kind of come full circle a little bit here. At least it's just for me personally. This has kind of come full circle to it in terms of my reactions. As you all know, I started reactions with Crusaders of the Lost Mark when the CMCs got their cutie marks. That was almost 4 years ago. Man, where does the time go? Our favorite fillies took such a huge step forward that day. They found their calling and started down a new path, helping other ponies to find and embrace their special talents. Since then, they've helped and inspired so many different ponies, young and old alike, in so many different ways. And now here we are, nearly 4 years later, and they're being formally recognized for their efforts, for doing just exactly what they set out to do after getting their cutie marks and finding their own calling. I'm just so happy for them, and I feel like this is just, yet another turn of the page for them, or a new chapter in their story. And I'm sure there are some grand things for them in their future, and I really wish we could take that journey with them. However, given the title of the episode, The Last Crusade, I'm sure this is basically the final Cutie Mark Crusader episode. I guess my wish of seeing a Diamond Tiara story will remain unfulfilled, sadly. That little wave between Diamond Tiara and Apple Bloom near the end there was, I think, pretty much an acknowledgement that, yes, it happened, and, everything's still good between them, and the book is basically now just closed on that story. I think we'll probably see the CMCs here again, here and there throughout the rest of the season, perhaps in the finale, if nothing else. I expect all the ponies in the finale, but this is likely the last episode that is focusing directly on them. And that just makes this such a bittersweet story, because I'm both happy to see them succeed and at the same time sad that we're now parting ways. I will just say that we're fortunate to even have come this far with them. Knowing that the show was supposed to go off the air at the end of season 3, if it had, we wouldn't have even have gotten to see them get their cutie marks, let alone help anyone else the way that they have. I'm just glad we had the opportunity to actually wrap up their story arc, and I think this ceremony was the perfect way to do it. Of course, it wasn't like they felt like they weren't being recognized or thanked by anyone that they've helped, or by the town or whatever. Rather, it was just kind of a show that everyone put on for the sake of Scootaloo and the situation with her parents. That's, not to say that they put it on just because of that. Like, it was still a sincere thing, but it was a kind of a rush deal to put it together. But, just the fact that the whole town, again, for Scootaloo's sake and all this, pulled together so quickly to arrange the ceremony, I think speaks volumes to just how much these little fillies are actually loved and appreciated by everyone. They even got all the ponies together that the CMCs have helped, including several from out of town, like Babseed, Troubleshoes, and yes, even Featherbangs. That this town is a family, and they take care of their own, and Scootaloo is a big part of that family. Losing her would have affected them all, and they weren't about to just let her go without at least getting a chance to try and show her parents just how important she is to them. Now, of course, her parents are also her family, or, direct blood relative family, and they certainly have a right to have a say in this matter, granted. But we didn't even know prior to this episode if they were even still alive. That had to be one of the biggest bombshells that we've ever had in this show. And not only are they alive, which I'm very happy about, by the way, they are, in case you couldn't tell, they're practically larger than life, being these adventurous ponies that study rare and very dangerous creatures for a living. If they would have come around just a little more often, I'm like, for show and tell and stuff, I'm guessing Scootaloo would have actually been one of the cool kids rather than a blank flank and whatnot at school. But they didn't come around. Ever. At least as far as we know. There could have been occasional visits off camera, granted, but I have my doubts about that based on everything else we've seen, and it looks like Scootaloo's been basically living alone for the last several years. Not completely alone in an empty house. I do appreciate the fact that they sort of addressed this at the beginning of the episode, stating that her aunts, the Cakes, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, and likely others have all taken turns staying with Scootaloo, so she wasn't actually left alone, which is obviously a good, responsible thing to do. However, bouncing around from babysitter to babysitter is no substitute for having a consistent, stable, parent/guardian figure and role model in her life. No matter how cool or awesome her parents are, being separated from them had to be really hard on her, so it's easy to see why she began idolizing Rainbow Dash, especially since Dash exhibits a lot of the same types of traits as her parents, in terms of being brave, daring, and all-around adventurous. This also brings the events of parental guidance back into the spotlight, I think, highlighting things like Scootaloo's admission that she wishes that she had a positive influence in her own life, like Dash's parents had in hers, overbearing as they might have been. Not only that, but the look on her face when Dash and her parents came to cheer Scootaloo on at school for that report. Now in this context, it just hits me even more in the feels, because she was finally getting a taste of what it should have been like for her own parents to be there for her, cheering her on. There's no doubt that Scootaloo loves her parents, and vice versa. But there's also no denying the fact that this extended separation has had its downsides. I do give her parents credit for not taking such a young kid along with them on their adventures, thus subjecting her to significant danger, I'm sure, And the fact that they came back for her after hearing about all the new, dangers that have befallen Equestria as of late, like Grogar, destruction of Tree of Harmony, actually, no, not Grogar, they haven't heard about that yet, but Sombra, Tree of Harmony is destroyed, etc. That means that they definitely do care for her well-being. What I did not appreciate is the way just this all happened, that they showed up so suddenly after being gone for several years, and without hardly giving a thought to Scootaloo's own life, decide that it's just best if they take her with them, thus uprooting her entire life, and, without giving any serious consideration as to how it would affect her and the town. And just to note, despite recent world events, Ponyville is hardly one of the most dangerous places to live in Equestria. If anything, it's one of the safest places. And it's not like Scootaloo doesn't have a lot of close friends there that care very much about her and that she can count on to watch out for her. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Rainbow Dash would do anything that she possibly could to protect Scootaloo from harm if it ever actually came to that. Now, I do recognize that this situation is similar to what a lot of kids face in real life. There's lots and lots of families out there that have to uproot and, move somewhere else and kind of start over for, a ton of different reasons. Changes in careers, military orders is a big one. Sometimes a family crisis occurs where a family that's, lives further apart, something happens, they have to move closer together to care for one another, things like that. Lots and lots of different reasons out there. And a lot of those reasons are, most definitely justified. But regardless of whether or not they're justified, it's definitely hard to just pack up your whole life and move somewhere else and have to start all over, making new friends, going to a new school, things like that. That said, this is kind of a rather unique case due to how absent her actual family has been in the first place. If you're at least close with your family, at least you have that to rely on when moving somewhere new and strange and different. But in this case, let's face it, Scootaloo wasn't really that close to her parents. At least from my perspective, she's not. It wasn't necessarily explicitly touched on in this episode, but I just can't help but think, if they'd been gone for this long to where she's lamenting about the fact that there's not been anybody there to support her the way Dash's parents have, clearly their presence in her life has been very minimal. And even though she looks up to them and like idolizes them much the same way that she idolized Dash as a role model, I just have to wonder how well does she actually even know her own parents. So it's definitely a question on my mind. And honestly, would it really have been that big of a deal for them to just take a day to spend with her? They missed out on so much in her life, and it seemed like they could only see that she's part of some trivial little kids club that really wasn't very important, which couldn't be further from the truth. Instead, they came to town with a plan already in motion, of we're gonna pack up and sell the house and move away, and you're coming with us now, and you're gonna like it. I think they just thought that she would be more than happy to come with them. They never considered that it would be a problem. I think it was since they themselves didn't really have any emotional ties to Ponyville, they didn't really consider the fact that Scootaloo would feel much differently than they did. But again, they just didn't even stop to consider the ramifications of what they're doing and realize how closely tied to this town that she is. And again, they are her parents. And I definitely respect that. But from where I'm sitting, this seemed like a rather selfish move on their part. I think it's just completely unfair that for them to be gone so long, that Scootaloo basically found a new family, and then come back and decide that they know what's best for her, despite the fact that they put their work before their own daughter, and haven't been there for her during some incredibly difficult times in her life, which I think was a big mistake. I get that the work they were doing was probably important, but family is important too, and there has to be a proper balance. It's funny, I remember talking about exactly this work-life balance thing in the last episode. And, by the way, I have to strongly question whether they're literally the only ponies out there who are capable of doing the work that they're doing. I mean, after all, daring do exists, so they're definitely not the only adventurers out there. And regardless of that, I am not at all convinced that the nature of their work was so absolutely important to the whole of Equestria that they couldn't take some time off now and again to be more present in their daughter's life. And to be clear, I am not saying that I don't want Scootaloo and her parents to be able to be together. I absolutely do want that, and I don't think that Rainbow Dash or anyone else in town was thinking that either. They are her family, and I can see they do indeed love Scootaloo, and they should be able to be together. But just like them, Scootaloo has a very important job with the CMCs that not just anyone can do. And it's a responsibility she takes very seriously. And on the flip side, I don't even think that the CMCs should have to always be by each other's side for all eternity either, because that honestly never really happens in real life. Of course, they'll always be friends, but they will eventually grow up and probably start families of their own, pursue new opportunities, things like that. That's just life. But for right now, most of the important ponies in Scootaloo's life are right there in Ponyville. And her parents, quite frankly, were foolish for not taking the time to recognize that. So, yeah, it was a difficult situation. And while there was no perfect solution, I was hoping for some kind of a middle ground, a compromise, and unfortunately we did get that in this case. Of course, it doesn't always work out so well like that in real life. More often than not, kids do indeed have to go with their parents and leave behind all their friends, their school, and so on. So Scootaloo was indeed very fortunate in this case. In the end, her parents finally did begin to understand just how important this town was to Scootaloo, and also how important she was to the town. So they decided to try and find a solution. However, with the house sold already, she didn't even technically have a place to live anymore, and bouncing from babysitter to babysitter, just like she always had been, wasn't exactly the best situation anyway. So, now I'm sure given the chance, many of the other ponies in town probably would have offered to take her in permanently. I mean, I wouldn't have even been surprised if Rainbow Dash volunteered to move out of her cloud home down to a house on the ground, just to take Scootaloo in herself, if that's what it would take to keep her there in Ponyville. But instead, the situation was resolved with Scootaloo's aunts coming to the rescue and deciding to move to Ponyville themselves, thus providing both a place for her to live and a much more stable guardian situation than just a rotation of babysitters. So, very good solution there. This allows her to actually spend more time with her own relatives, actually, and now her parents are at least close enough that they can see each other like once every month or so. Like I said, there's a train every month. So in the end, Scootaloo gets the best of both worlds. And hey, it's much better to feel wanted by too many people than to feel like you're not wanted at all. So, it's a problem, but it's a good problem to have. And yes, I'm pretty sure that her parents will be visiting more often now. It's pretty clear their eyes have been opened, and I'm sure they're seeing how much of their daughter's life they have missed out on, and will want to be more involved from now on. So that's what I'm hoping, at least. I'm pretty confident that things will progress well on that front. And man, what I wouldn't now give to see an episode with Scootaloo's and Dash's families getting together for some fun. But I'm sure that's not going to happen. We don't have enough time left in the show. I also strongly suspect that this episode is our final episode with a focus on Scootaloo specifically, which means that we likely won't ever see the issue of her lack of flight capability fully addressed. I think we pretty much got as close as they're willing to go on that back in the washouts. Now, that said, it's clear at this point that Scootaloo is accepting of her disability and is moving on, which I'm happy about, but I just wish we'd gotten a proper explanation as to the reason for her condition. It's always been a big question mark why we never had an actual cause identified. It's not even clear whether her parents know about this. I'm assuming they at least corresponded by letters periodically, so they probably know. I would think they'd have to know at least this much about her. But that said, I did make an interesting observation while watching this episode. Her mom is a Pegasus, but her dad is an Earth pony. As we all know, pony genetics are weird, leading to situations like the Cake family, where two Earth ponies ending up having Pegasus and Unicorn foals due to latent genes in their ancestry. And then there's the situation with Flurry Heart too, where despite having a unicorn father, she ended up being an alicorn, just like her mother. So, you know, lots of strange situations like that. Considering these situations, I have to wonder if the fact that her father is an Earth pony has something to do with her inability to fly. We know for a fact that Pegasi flight capabilities have a magic component to them, and I've long theorized that something is wrong with Scootaloo's magic distribution that is preventing her wings from working the way that they should. I'd say it's entirely possible that some of the Earth pony genetic traits took dominance over that of the Pegasus traits, thus creating a situation where she has the wings, but not the magic, at least where it needs to be, to use them the way that most Pegasi do. Now, I could be way overthinking this, and I probably am, but I feel like there's at least some merit to this, and it's now basically my personal headcanon until such time as show canon offers another explanation, which I'd say is unlikely at this point, since I don't think they're coming back to this again. But like I said, they did come pretty close to the disability issue in the washouts, and while we may never get a proper explanation, at least we've seen enough to know that Scootaloo is going to be just fine. I mean, no matter what life throws at her, you know, she's got the spirit and the willpower and the friends to help her through anything, so she'll be alright. So what an episode. This was definitely a fun one. And man, the season just keeps right on rolling along. I think it's going to beat season 7. I think we're on track to do that. So we'll see. But for now, I got to wrap this one up, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed going through this one with me, and hope to see you again very soon for the next reaction. Later.